The battle for the Strait of Hormuz is heating up. The 60-day ceasefire between the United States and Iran is now witnessing frequent clashes over the strategic waterway. For the second consecutive day, drones flew across the Persian Gulf. The IRGC has released footage of missile launches at various U.S. bases in the region. Dominance and control over the Strait of Hormuz remains the central issue behind renewed tensions. The IRGC claims it launched ballistic missiles and drones at USS Ali Salem Air Base in Kuwait and the 5th Naval Fleet in Bahrain. Both bases serve as a critical hub for U.S. military operations in that region.
What matters is that whatever action the enemy takes, we have responded and we will continue to respond. We have repeatedly said that if the enemy once again breaks its commitments or violates the ceasefire, our response will be stronger than before. We stress once again that it will be stronger.
The latest attack from Iran comes after the United States claimed airstrikes on Iran's military surveillance infrastructure, communication systems, air defense sites, drone storage facilities and mine layer capabilities along its southern coast. According to U.S. Central Command, 10 Iranian military targets were hit in overnight strikes. Iranian media reported several explosions in the coastal city of Sirik and Qeshm Island in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says any challenge to the Strait of Hormuz will increase tensions. To avoid this, the minister says or has proposed a framework with all regional countries without involvement or interference of any country outside their region.
Any attempt to adopt new or separate arrangements compared to what is underway by the Islamic Republic of Iran will only lead to more complicated situations and delays in the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz and will increase the tensions, as we witnessed in the past 2 nights in the Strait of Hormuz.
Kuwait denounced Iranian attacks on its territory. Country's foreign ministry said the attacks are a flagrant violation of its sovereignty. Bahrain's military called Iranian attacks treacherous. According to the statement, air defenses intercepted and destroyed a number of projectiles. Additionally, Bahrain's armed forces remain on maximum alert to tackle any future attacks. President Trump has warned Iran. In a post on Truth Social, he says Iran will cease to exist if Washington is forced to militarily complete the job it started. In response, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps have vowed a crushing response against further U.S. attacks. Overwhelming majority of Iran's assembly of experts have asked armed forces to give a quick response to any violation of the Memorandum of Understanding. They have also urged the negotiators to respect the red lines of Iran's supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei. And joining us live from Washington, D.C. is Mr. Peter Kuznick. He's a professor of history and director of the Nuclear Studies Institute at the American University. Professor Kuznick, it's good to see you as always. Thank you very much for making time for us. Quick question. What's causing the fragility of this ceasefire in your own assessment?
This ceasefire is not a ceasefire. Both sides are firing against each other. The deal was very fragile to begin with. And it was also very vague. So both sides are accusing each other of breaking the Memorandum of Understanding. But if you look at the wording, let me just read you one part. The memorandum called on Iran, quote, to make arrangements using its best efforts for the safe passage of commercial vessels. It doesn't define arrangements. It doesn't define best efforts. So the Iranians claim that it gave them control over traffic through the strait, and they don't want the ships to go along the Omani coast. They want the vessels to go near Iran. And so they've hit 2 of the vessels, which effectively sends the message that passage through the strait is too dangerous again, and now the shippers are going to back off. So what we're going to see is oil prices skyrocketing again after they've begun to come down. And we're going to see very few vessels traveling through the strait unless they take the path near to Iran, as the Revolutionary Guard is demanding. And both sides are accusing each other. So what we're seeing now is renewed fighting, plus fighting in Lebanon. So I don't know what progress we've made. We're back to square one, and the whole deal could unravel in a minute.
Professor, mentioning Lebanon, we've seen the trilateral agreement being signed between Lebanon and Israel, but there's still some fault lines in that trilateral agreement. In your own assessment, what do you think about the rupture between the United States and Israel?
This is extraordinary. We haven't seen this since the birth of Israel. You could say during the Suez Crisis there was a bit of a rupture, but they were able to repair that. Now what we're seeing is a course reversal. Thomas Massey's bill is going to come before the House to cut the $3.3 billion in aid to Israel. We're seeing if the change in the Democratic Party, for example, across the board, more than 60% of Americans don't want the close ties to Israel. However, in the Democratic Party, more than 80% have said that they want the U.S. to cut its special relations with Israel. We have not seen this before. Even in the Republican Party and among independents, there's strong opposition. So what we're seeing now is Trump and Vance criticizing Netanyahu and the Israeli leaders in ways that we have never seen before, calling Netanyahu effing crazy and talking about how destructive Israel is. This is the same Trump who gave an open checkbook to Israel in its initial assault on Gaza when his second term began, and then went with Netanyahu in going to war with Iran back in February. But now Trump realizes that that policy is a disaster for his party in the upcoming midterm elections. And so we're seeing a breach of a sort that is really unprecedented and could rearrange relations throughout the Middle East.
Professor Kuznick, we have a lot to talk about, but our time is bound. Thank you very much for your time and for talking to WION World as One today.
My pleasure, Eric, as always.